We're in Storm 101 here. Today we'll be taking a look into your severe weather forecast for the next few days. Excuse me. Now let's go ahead and get started. What we got going on right now? So we got storms blowing up in the Texas Panhandle. We even got storms blowing up in Colorado. We even got storms blowing up in Kansas and to Missouri. Then we got we got severe thunderstorm watch and a couple tornado watches as well going in for later tonight. So this is we had a tornado report earlier, and that was actually in Wyoming. So that's the first tornado of the day in Wyoming. That's pretty far north. So let's take a look into your consecutive outlook now. Just got updated. Excuse me again. So let's see. They have an enhanced risk for central Kansas, with a slight risk surrounding that, and even stretches into the Texas Panhandle, Colorado, Nebraska, and Missouri. So your main threats right now, your tornadoes at a 5% chance, and it give 25 miles of a point. Temperature winds will be there, and hail will be there. They could be larger than 2 inches in diameter possible. Here we go on day 2. Here's tomorrow. Another slight enhanced risk for a small portion of Kansas, portions of Oklahoma, and portions of the Texas Panhandle. And your main threats right now is looking to be tornadoes. Some of that could be strong, some damaging winds, and large hail. Some of those could be 2 inches plus in diameter. I think we'll definitely see that. Here we go into your Wednesday. There's a enhanced risk that moves eastward into Oklahoma, a little bit more into Oklahoma, Kansas, and Arkansas making into this as well, and Texas. Your main threats is all on the table. Could be seeing some tornadoes, damaging winds, even some large hail. Some of those can also be, again, 2 inches plus in diameter. There's a marginal risk stretching into the lower Ohio Valley as well, giving a threat for a chance of damaging winds there. And here we go on day 4. And I think this is going to be a difficult forecast here. The models, the CAPE has been going back and forth. What I mean by is the CAPE was high at first, then went down, and went back up, and went down. It was going up and down in large proportions. And that kind of makes forecasting a little bit difficult. And I think we can see a larger area for severe weather. For these areas that's in the east here, like here, I'm going to highlight this here. This is my forecasting perspective here. I would like to say that a slight risk could be pushed into these areas here, going to be in yellow, just for the overnight threat. Now, in this yellow shade here that I'm coloring in right now is by playing on my forecast going into the overnight hours. So that means we can have some damaging winds later into the nighttime hours in that extra yellow area as well. There you go. I just kind of disagree. I kind of do with their forecast here, but it's going to be a difficult forecast. I think we'll have a better idea when we go ahead and go into tomorrow. Now let's look at 3 different models. We'll start with the NAMNAS. Now this model here doesn't have much to deal with, but all I can really show you guys is the supercell composite and probably the Helicity swaths, and even the CAPE shear. So I highly doubt it's a high risk there. Scroll this down some. We may even have a potential for supercells to develop in Oklahoma. Seems like it's going to give a little bit of a low risk. And then because of squall line there, it's going to be a nasty squall line too. And here we go. Here comes your warm front starts to pass up here. bringing a chance of severe weather. This is Wednesday night here. That kind of pushes off. It did. Seems like it may even have a potential squall, but we got a lot of shear going on. We're getting knots. Look at that, 101. So there's a lot of shear to deal with, but I'm going to show you what the problem is. It's actually going to be the cape. That's what I was talking about here, having some low cape values. So here we go, in here. I mean, we do have some good cape here, but it's been going up and down. It seems like the NAM nest wants to give more cape than the original NAM. The original NAM out in these areas here wants to give less than 1,000 for most areas. And I think it was taking it a little bit far too down, a little far backed up. But the NAM nest does want to give around 2,000, which I can agree with this forecast here. We can take a look into your SKT. I could get to a 2,000 there. Sorry, I got allergies right now. So your equinox is extremely high. It's wanting to give a marginal severe, just by from this graph. Very low shear, but we do have some high cape values. So this will, and the clouds are going to be very high. This is going to give a chance for severe hail, but the supercell risk is low because we don't have much shear. So right now your main threats are going to be damaging winds and some large hail. It's really going to be your main threats here. Let's take a look at those velocity swaths here. Once to give an idea of how much helicity, that kind of gives, like, if I'm correct, it makes horizontal, makes the rotation, it goes vertical and then makes a horizontal. That's really how it produces tornadoes. You can see here it's when it gets some very high areas, over 300, that's a lot. You know, some areas down here in Oklahoma as well, but very skinny. But this here does not go out that far into Thursday. Kind of goes into Thursday morning. So yeah. Let's go ahead and go into your GFS model here. If I am able to get there we go. Here we go. This is what I want to show. Let's go ahead and go to Wednesday first. So let's go ahead and go to Pronto Severe Weather Event. So here we go with your cape values here. We're looking at cape values areas. Some areas are over 4,000 in Texas. And some are under 4,000, which is a lot of cape to deal with. Your cape and shear values, they're not high. So it's kind of good news for a tornado threat. But I think we can still see some tornadoes out there. Looks like we have wind shear's okay. Your lifted index though is very high. That kind of really gives the chance of hail. We even do have some helicity going on out of the east, out ahead of us. So if we get storms develop out ahead of it, we can get some supercells that can produce potentially some tornadoes. That kind of goes into a little bit into Arkansas as well, and maybe even in Missouri. Okay, let's go ahead and go into a day ahead of time. Let's go into your Thursday. So in this area here we're watching, your squall lines looks to be developing right here. So we got some areas of very high helicity, so if any storm develops, it could be rotating storms out ahead of this. But that's just the helicity. We do have some decent values out ahead of it, while we have some very high values back down to around Louisiana, but it's kind of, you know, out of the area where we're kind of watching very closely. We actually do have some pockets of 20s. There's even areas of near 30. Okay, your Cape and shear. It's high back here. It's kind of low here. It's actually trying to show near 1,000 here. That could be an issue there. Oh, nope. So what I want. Let's take a look into your cape values. This is what I'm talking about, low cape values. There used to be like 4,000 cape over here, but now what I'm starting to see here is that the front is starting to move slower. Whenever that happens there, you kind of have an increased chance with some flooding there because these storms here are going to be pretty good rain producers. Maybe even some hail producers are out there as well. But we do have some pockets of cape over 1,000 around here in an isolated area. It's also going to be pretty warm as well, so we could get some scattered storms out ahead of us. And some of those could be rotating storms potentially there. Now, let's take a look at the cloud cover here. So, cloud cover is going to be a problem. You're looking at cloud cover at 100%, which is okay. I mean, if you look to a little bit more dynamic, your low clouds are actually not that bad. If you look at middle clouds here, there's some high values here, but out over here, though, it's completely zero. So it kind of adds to its ability. But high clouds really just kind of takes over. That's probably where some of those storms that's going to spit out some very high clouds called anvils. So it makes sense. But we'll see. That's only at 5 o'clock. Let's see what 8 a.m. shows. Like early in the morning. Still 100% for high clouds. Middle clouds, we could potentially have some fog. Middle clouds, there's 0 actually. About low clouds. Okay, so we could have some peaks of sunshine there potentially if it tries to break out, add some instability to the atmosphere. Let's see what the Euro wants to show here. The only way I can tell by severe weather chances is by these lightning strikes there. If it gets like really highlighted, it kind of tells me there's probably some severe weather potentially in there. So, or they could call it numerous storms. So you got your storms going on out in Kansas. Here's Tuesday. We got some scattered potentially supercells here. We got one near Dodge City, one near Armadillo. So some of these could be isolated or scattered ones. We go ahead, it seems like it becomes a squall one at 8 o'clock in the morning. Let's go into 3 p.m. It kind of passes by, dies down, but we still got some energy going on in the atmosphere. Some new storms do try to develop behind it wherever it dies. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and go into your Thursday here. Here's 2 o'clock. We got some numerous strong to severe thunderstorms going on here. If we go ahead and go to 6 p.m., they start to become a little bit more numerous. We may even have a squall line developing there. And here's 10 o'clock here. Seems like some of the storms dies out to the south. We got a really good thunderstorm near Houston and New Orleans. Up here, what I've learned, these stripes here could be potentially be supercells. Or it could just be a squall line. So, those could be some nasty storms up into the Ohio Valley. So, the Euro's kind of having a different story on this here. So it's going to be a difficult forecast. Let's look at clouds here. Let's see. Yeah, that's my first time seeing that. I think it's supposed to be windy as well. Let's take a look into your wind gust here. Back to Wednesday here, we got some pretty good wind gusts nearing 40 or 50 miles an hour in a few spots. I know Oklahoma tends to get pretty windy there because it's flat. It's a little bit windier around Columbia. Missouri there with gusts nearing 45 miles an hour. It kind of dies that way we head to the overnight hours. Here's 12 o'clock. Your wind gust really kicks in up into the north. Even some areas here around Kentucky, Tennessee there. Here's 8 o'clock. This is when the squall line comes through here. See some gusts along the squall line, potentially near 40 miles an hour. Which 40 miles an hour is the minimum of a strong thunderstorm. That's just a fact for that. So this is all I got for you guys today. Hopefully you enjoyed this update. If you do like this video, hit that like button. If you really do like my channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. If you got any questions, go ahead and put in the comment section down below. I'll see y'all in the next video. Goodbye.